Okay, grade 8. This is your homework for Tuesday night, February 20th, 2018. The first question gives you a square and gives you the diagonal length. It says, what is the perimeter and what is the area? So I'm going to erase this question here, and I'll do the work in here. So what we really have here is a right triangle, okay? And since this is 20 meters, this is really what a right triangle would look like. So if I draw my square on the hypotenuse, the area of this would be 400 meters squared. And since the area of the two squares attached to the legs have to equal that, each of these we would know to be 200 meters squared. It has to be, right? Because they're the same side. And therefore, each of those side lengths is the square root of 200. So if I took 200 and put the square root sign, it's around 14.1. So that means that this distance here is 14.1, and this distance here 14.1, and all the way around is 14.1. So therefore, the perimeter of this particular circle will be, I'll erase that, 14.1 plus 14.1 plus 14.1 plus 14.1, which is 28.2, which is 56.4 meters. That's the perimeter. It's about that because we rounded when we did our thing. The area will be 14.1 squared, or 14.1 times 14.1. If I take my calculator, 14.1 times, that'll equal approximately 198 point something meters squared. That's the area. Okay, the second question, if I can bring it up here, is 1 2/5 times 3/8. So when you multiply fractions, remember we're having a little bit more than one group of 3/8, right? We're not having two groups of 3/8. So I know that if I have 1 2/5 groups of 3/8, which is less than half, I still know, since I don't have two groups of them, my answer is going to be less than 1. So I'm going to change this to 7/5 multiplied by 3/8. Multiply my numerators to get 21, multiply denominators to get 40. My answer is 21/40ths. In the third question, I have an order of operations, brackets first, subtraction, which means I don't want to do it, I want to add the opposite. So I get 1 times -4, which will simply be -4. In the next question, I have a BEDMAS question. This is my constant, and this is my coefficient. So in a two-step algebraic equation, get rid of your constant first by adding 2 to both sides. -4x is left over here, and -6 is left. Divide both sides by -4, and x will equal negative times or divided by negative is a positive. 6 divided by 4 is 1.5. 1.5. So x equals 1.5. So as a decimal, 1/25 is equivalent to 4 100ths, which is 4%, which as a decimal is 0.04. This 4,000ths as a fraction is 4 over 1,000, which is equal to 2 over 500, which is equal to 1 over 250 in lowest terms. But as a percentage, 4 out of 1,000 is equal to 0.4 out of 100, and therefore it is 0.4%. 28.5% is 28.5 out of 100, which is equivalent to 285 over 1,000, which in lowest terms, 285 divided by 5 is 57 over 200. That's in lowest terms. And finally, as a percent, as a decimal, since this is it as a fraction, 285 thousandths, that is it as a decimal. Okay, next question is your equation. Your difference here is 1, your difference here is 2. And remember, your coefficient of your equation is the difference in y divided by the difference in x. So 1 divided by 2 is 0.5, or a half. So therefore, my coefficient is a half. Half of 2 is 1, so I don't need a constant. And therefore, that is my equation. Okay, the next question says 28 meters in 15 seconds. How many meters in 1 minute? Right? So 15 seconds there are 60 seconds. So if I multiply both by 4, I get 80, I get 100, I get 112. 112 meters per minute is the answer for that. For the next question, it says which one is a better deal, the first or the second? So $1.80 at a 2.10 per 100 milliliters, I can divide by 2.1, And $1.80 divided by 2.1 is roughly, approximately 86 cents, see you, Ms. Wanda, per 100 mils. That's the first one. That's A. And B is $2.20 for 280 mils. So therefore, if I divide by 2.8, I get 78 cents, or 79 cents roughly, per 100 milliliters. And therefore, the better deal is the second one, B. This is the better deal. And finally, the last one. I better get a new one so I can see it better. What I'm going to do here is first, I'm going to divide both sides by negative 20, because I don't want negative 20 groups of it. I want one group. So 5x minus 5 is equal to negative 10. I'm then going to simply add 5 to both sides. I get 5x equals negative 5. And then divide both sides by my coefficient to get x equals negative 1. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your homework. 6 minutes of video watching, not so bad. Make sure you have it done, because I will be doing a homework check tomorrow morning.